An interesting topic that I like is to think about where return many times is this enjoyment with jokes, with funny jokes, and especially came back the enjoyment of memes that are created on the internet, just basically just the silly memes that you now see on Facebook so often for a few years. And I was wondering, what is actually this enjoyment behind it? What makes you have this fulfilling enjoyment when you recognize the pointer, the joke behind it? So when you tell a joke, what I came back to, what I thought about, I didn't read any literature about it or explanations. I wanted just how I would describe it for myself is when you hear a joke, then you go like in a story, you have this expected outcome, but then you come to the pointer and the outcome is something completely different, and basically the joke is the better when basically three things are good. So you have to be guided from the story to a very specific outcome where you think, oh, when this and this and this happened, then this must happen. But then point 2 is something else happens, and this something else has to be something completely different, and the more different it is, this increases the joke. So that's why all this sexual jokes or fecal jokes and something are some kind funny, because they are something that you don't want to think about or that you don't expect. So this is that. And the third one, which I find important, which is why some jokes don't really work because they are too strong and somewhere different, is that there still has to be a connection. So if this alternative, this going back, this pointer to another point that you don't expect, if that still makes a lot of sense, then you have those three components. And I find those go back a little bit also together with memes, that basically you have a concept that comes up, someone makes something in a little bit joke or something that is impressionable, something that gets shared around, that goes viral, and then you have it packaged in different forms, and then the enjoyment is in recognizing it again. So one very famous meme that gets made a lot is the Lost meme, where a cartoonist he wrote a comic strip which is about a sad topic about abortion. So he gets called to the clinic and there is no talking, so there's 4 panels, comes into the clinic, then talks with the nurse and then with the doctor, and then goes to his girlfriend in the room. And somehow this was made really cringy. Apparently, I don't know, people thought that this cartoonist don't really has a good taste in telling stories, so it was like this topic was not really good condensed, so people would make fun of that, of course, online. And since that comic strip was so impactful and people were talking about this, people were then making memes out of it and turning it into other things, mixing it, and then you have to re-recognize and see if you see it in other things. So then was basically reconnect with it. And what was one interesting is basically just having it like this. I think this is now mirrored in my camera, but if you comes in, talks with the nurse, talks with the doctor, and then goes to a room where she is laying down. Then you get to so minimalized topics, and then of course then people turn this around, and then other things that are connected with it get turned into memes. So what then was impactful is that people were asking if it's lost, so just asking for it already was turned into a meme. And yeah, topic or not of this comic strip, people were enjoying to make memes and taking something value out of that, and having this made through memes, this is enjoyable, and this reconnecting to information, this finding out new ways to think and opening up new pathways somehow has this dopamine response. So to maybe make it more practical, what I could imagine is that this creating targeted memes could be useful for you as a business by taking care not only of your branding, but if you have a sales call and you are talking with your future client about possible activities that you can do, how you can help him, then you don't want to explain step by step or just talk a lot, or you also don't just want to say, oh, I can help you, that will be the outcome will be this and that, and I help you to get there. And it's like, okay, it's like a little bit empty promise. That's why it could be that you tell them, okay, I help you. For example, I will make a process evaluation guide or process essential guide. Let's just say that out of my mind. Then you have the 3-word process essential guide. And those alone is not really much value. So it won't tell you anything. But what you do is, before you get into the sales call, doing your post on Facebook, doing live stream, making videos, you fill those 3 words with meaning. And you do that by talking about processes. Okay, a process is different series of steps. You have per people in each step, and they have to handle something from one person to another, and in one steps there's a value created, in other steps there's no value created, it's unimportant for the customer, but you have to do it because otherwise you get maybe in trouble with the government, so you need to pay taxes. But your customer would probably like if you don't have to, because it's expensive for him too. Who knows? And then you know, okay, a process like something complex, and it's actually where your business comes and where you transform input into outputs. And it's very, very interesting. And then we come to essentials. So it's like, okay, in my process for my clients, he comes to me with this problem and he wants to have this outcome, and then there are like steps in between, and there are like those key steps. Those are the essentials that really, really help the customer and the client to get from his problem to a solution, and that's where my business can help him. That's what he actually pays for. And then you go, okay, now I have essentials, that is that key steps that I want to offer, and where I have to focus on what really helps them. Everything that's out of those essentials, then you can think about, okay, is it helping those essentials? Is it like second tier essentials or supportive steps for those essentials? But if you then talk in your live streams also about this essentials, the essentials of the process, and it's like, oh, now you know what that could be about. And then you talk about the guide. Oh, you present some guides that may be made for clients, and in talking about processes and essentials, you also name some ways how you can actually document it. Okay, you have maybe a diagram, a step-by-step diagram, a flow diagram. You make statistics and maybe a nice diagram where you show the distribution, like Pareto distribution, and these steps are important and these steps don't have really a big impact. You show how you create it and then how you put everything together in a nice one-pager maybe, or maybe you have a PDF with 10 pages with nice description. And you have it for different clients. It always somehow looks very similar, but has essential information for the specific client in there that is very helpful for him, and for others maybe he can understand why it's helpful for him, but it's not useful for that person. So then you have like, okay, it's like a guide, and I know will have my processes there, and the essentials in this guide will be taken out and explained, and there will be steps how to get to those essentials, how to analyze it. They will know how long it will take, and they have an idea about that. So then when you have your call and you talk with your prospective client and you're you're probably just maybe asking him a lot of questions, of course. You want him to open up, to reflect on himself and think about what could be useful for him. So, and when he's then opening up and he's having the problem where you could help him, or you find a fit for that, then you look back and, okay, you have this and that problem. I could offer you, we are making a process essentials guide during the next week. We will have a meeting in 2 days, and then we will go over your business and look at the process, target out the essentials, and then create your guide for you so that you know how to focus in your business and increase your efficiency. So, and if you did all the work beforehand and your client looked at the content you put out, he looked at your streams and your posts, then he knows already, like with this sentence which is completely meaningless without it, but then he knows if you fit all these ideas into it and thinks, oh damn it, it's gonna just the right thing, I know what the outcome will be. He's not thinking about the decision if he wants it or not. Like subconsciously he's already 1 week ahead with a document in his head, with a nice X-ray vision on his company, and with lofty plans for the future. All his problems are going away, and yeah, he basically just has to say yes to that, theoretically. So this is how I think that could be helpful for you. If it does, leave a comment below, like this video, and let me know what you think about it, if that's something that could actually work. Okay, bye.